Hello, I'm Keith, and this is my dad, Kerwin. Welcome to another episode of Father and Son, a Star Wars podcast.
Thank you for joining us again. Before we get into our spoiler review of episode 10, we just want to say thank you and give a shout out to Big T, Little T podcast. That's Todd and Trent. They are a father and son team. We were on their podcast last week and it was fantastic. We had a great time talking about Star Wars. We were talking about episode 9. It was wonderful. It was fantastic. So again, we just want to say thank you to Todd and Trent for having us on their podcast, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
Right. All right. They even have a website, so you can look for them there.
Yes, and what we'll do is we'll include a link in our description at the bottom of this episode.
Right.
Okay. All right. So now let's get into episode 10 called Common Ground. It takes place on the planet Raxus, and before we even talk about the episode, can somebody just tell me who is the landscaper on Raxus? Because the planet is fantastic. I mean, the trees, it's colorful, the shrubbery and the grounds near the capital. It's beautiful.
Well, how beautiful?
It's so beautiful, the Empire want to occupy the planet.
Well, that's a dad joke.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, let's move on then. Okay. All right. So we're on the planet Raxus, and yes, the Empire is going to do what the Empire is going to do.
Yep.
They want to occupy the planet, and they want to convince the people that what they're doing is good. It's good for the people. They just need the citizens' loyalty, and the citizens were not afraid to voice their opinions. They do not want the Empire there at all.
Right.
Right. And what the Empire has decided to do, the captain, the Imperial captain, is to bring out their esteemed leader, Senator Avi Singh, and have him come out and reassure the people that they're doing the right thing of having the Empire take over this planet. So he comes, he approaches the podium, and he says that, this planet is going to flourish under the Empire, and then he stops. And then he realizes, no, they're not going to flourish. This is oppression. This is aggression. We don't want the Empire here. And he goes out and tells them that the Empire is no good. We don't want them on our planet. The people are cheering, and he gets pulled away and arrested immediately.
Right.
Right.
Now, before he went up to speak, he told his little droid, GS8, who is an RA7 protocol droid, who we've seen before. He let that droid know that she needed to follow his instructions to the letter if anything went wrong.
Right.
So, of course, it did. So, the droid sent out a distress signal to rescue the senator. And as you might be able to guess, that is where the Bad Batch comes in.
That's exactly right. So now we're back on Ord Mantell. Sid gets this communication from GS8. That is the Bad Batch's new mission, is to rescue the senator. Now, we found out that Raxus was a part of the Separatist government.
So you can figure they're a little bit hesitant about helping Separatists because, as we've said before, the Republic and the Separatists were enemies.
Yes.
For a long while.
Absolutely. That's right. And remember, the Bad Batch were a part of the Separatist army, and they don't want to have, they were a part of the Republic army. They don't want any part of the Separatists, so they're very hesitant to try to help this senator. But a job's a job, like Sid says, and they have to go. Now, before they go, Hunter makes the decision to leave Omega behind because he fears for her safety. She doesn't want her to be on a planet that's occupied by the Empire, so she stays behind, and Sid watches over her while they're gone. Okay, and the Bad Batch travel to Raxus, and they meet up with GS8, and they realize GS8 is a droid. We're working for a droid, is what Record said. So their history of droids is, they were enemies once again.
They just like blew them apart.
Right.
That was like Wrecker's favorite thing to do.
That's
like
right.
When he's not eating Bantel Bix, what he's doing is literally crushing droids.
There you go. That's right. He likes to blow stuff up, which he will in this episode.
Yeah.
All right. So they run into GS8, and GS8 takes them to exactly where Senator Singh is being held. And right at the point of interrogation, we saw that interrogation droid coming to, extract some information from the senator. In comes the Bad Batch, blows open the door, grabs the senator, and they take command of one of those Imperial ships.
Right, now, they take command of one of the walkers.
Right, one of the walkers, the AT, the AT-AT walkers, right?
I don't think they're AT-ATs.
Okay. And these walkers, actually, as a matter of fact, we forgot to say that when they arrested the senator, the Imperials brought these walkers in, brought in the military to clear up all of the citizens off the streets. So this city is now being occupied by these Imperial walkers.
Right.
And then the Bad Batch is able to commandeer one of these walkers, and they use the walker to escape. The senator knew a way to get out safely. They had a shortcut. He asked the Bad Batch to actually blow a hole in a wall.
Like, if you don't mind, just blow a hole right here.
Which Wrecker, was very happy to oblige. So they blew a hole in the wall, and that hole led to a tunnel, which led them back to their ship, the Marauder. So they were able to get back to the ship safely along with the senator. And the senator stops, and he turns around and he looks at his beautiful planet and says, "Well, what am I doing? I'm leaving my people behind." But Echo, we know this history of Echo, working with the Republic and fighting with the Separatists. He says, "Well, you live to fight another day."
Now, quick thing, that line has actually been said before. Like there was this clone named Hardcase who said the line previously in Clone Wars.
Wow, how about that?
So that's clone thing, apparently.
Right. So that's a line that's been said by the clones in the past. And Echo repeats that same line. So that's very important. Okay. All right. So then we turn back to Ord Mantell. Meanwhile, while the Bad Batch is on Raxus, we find that Omega has a skill of playing hollow chess.
Yeah. She says it's like strategy. We call it the Force because, she's still got to be Force sensitive, because I'm just thinking there's no way that, like, not a bad way, but there's no way that a pre-teenager can play hollow chess and win every single round with, like, no flaws.
Okay.
And evaluate every level and know what they're going to do before they do it and beat them. There's no way that the average 9-year-old could do that.
Well, that's a good point. And I want to talk about that. I just want to finish up this episode, though, by saying that, Omega apparently has a skill of playing hollow chess, and, Sid never misses an opportunity to make some money. So she thought, okay, well, let's see if we could bring some people in, take their money, and try to beat you in this game.
Right. So of course, Omega wins every game.
So when the Bad Batch shows up, it's like the entire town is in this pub or in this cantina, and they're watching people getting beat by this little girl, Omega. Yeah. And
here's the great part. Omega makes enough money to pay off the Bad Batch's debt.
How about that?
Like, remember how in episode 8 they were talking about how they owe Sid all that money? Well, now they can pay it off.
It's paid off. And not only is Omega a good strategist, according to her, she's also a good negotiator, because she actually talked Sid into giving her 60% of the winnings. Yeah. So Omega got 60% and Sid got 40%. So Omega made enough money to cover the debt that the Bad Batch owed Sid. So now that is covered. They don't owe Sid any more money. But Hunter, being the dad, the dad figure, he was very upset to see that this little girl is being used to play gambling. I mean, if you look at it, and he gives Sid this dad unhappy dad look, and Sid called everybody off and say, okay, it's all over, let's go, everybody go home. And Sid says to him, well, take it easy on the kid, because she really did a good thing. And Hunter went back to her and said, "Did you really pay off our debt?" And she said, "Well, yeah, because even though I wasn't with you on the mission, I still wanted to do something that was valuable to the team." And that was very nice. And then the last scene was Hunter sat down with Omega at the hollow chest and said, "Okay, we're going to play one more game. And if you can beat me at this game, then you can go on every single mission going forward." Right.
And that's how the episode ends.
And that means that Omega is going to be on every single mission going forward.
Right. And now she won't have to stay.
Right. Now let's get back to what you're talking about as far as strategy. Yes, you're right. Omega calls it strategy, but I do believe it's the Force. And I said that, I've been saying that from the very beginning, that I think that
we
Omega
said that from episode 1.
Force sensitive. Right. And then last week when we, knew about her having pure DNA of Jango Fett, that, okay, that might be true, but we think there's still maybe tainted with someone else's DNA. Right. And that person, whoever that person is Force sensitive. So that's why I think that, she's able to actually determine what her opponent's move is going to be before they actually do it, because that's the Force. That's what the Force does.
Now, all clones are like good at strategy. That's what they do. But the fact that Omega, like in episode 1, Omega could pick up a blaster, fire it, literally knock the blaster out of Crosshair's hand, and not hit Hunter, Wrecker, the ground, or Echo.
Good point. Yep. Exactly. Yeah. So she's very skilled at a lot of things, but we don't know everything yet. But I think the Force there's still something there regarding the Force. All right. Yeah. And then what I want to say about Raxus, I have a theory about Raxus. I think Raxus is going to play a very important role with the Bad Batch. And I'll tell you why. I believe once the Bad Batch has actually settled down and they're no longer running from the Empire and things have calmed down for them, that Raxus is going to be the planet where they're going to settle down.
Maybe.
Yeah. And I say this because, one, I looked at the diversity of the citizens of that planet. I went back and I paused the scene where we saw all those people standing outside and they're protesting, or they're cheering on their senator, but they're protesting against the Imperials. And they're all people of different species, humans and aliens. And we know that the Bad Batch from the very beginning never felt like they were a part of the rest of the clones, like the Regs that they called them, right? So they always felt that they were special. But how about a place like this, like Raxus, who accepts everybody, even clones? So I think this would be the perfect place for them to settle down. Yeah. And then the other thing too is, now that they saved this Senator Avi Singh's life, they actually, Avi Singh would probably think, well, I owe them, I have a debt to them. I owe them for helping them save my life. Right. So he would be more than happy to bring them into his home planet. And I don't know if Raxus has a military at this point, but then that would be a good opportunity to bring the Bad Batch in to actually form a military that can, a military that can defend them from the Empire.
Or maybe if Rex and Ahsoka end up stepping in,
there you go,
they could help.
They can help.
Like they could turn Raxus into like a crucial part of the rebellion.
There you go. So that is our theory about Raxus. And one other thing too, from the surface, when I first saw the episode, it seemed like it was just a not a throwaway, but it's
kind of a filler
episode. But once you look at it a second time and a third time, these episodes going forward, this is episode 10, there's going to be 16 episodes, I believe. These episodes from now and going forward are going to mean something. They're going to set up something that's going to pay off very big in the future. So remember that, Raxus. I think that will be the place where they will settle down.
Raxus. Remind me to go on Wikipedia and look that up.
Right. And please see if you can find the name of that landscaper. Okay. All right. Well, that's
the continuation of dad joke.
You don't like my dad jokes?
No, they're funny.
Okay. All right. Before we go, we just want to say thank you to those who have found our podcast. We have about 80 subscribers now on YouTube, which is fantastic. We're looking to get to 100.
I didn't know that. Nobody told me that.
How about that? Yeah, it's growing. And we just want to say thank you to our YouTube subscribers. Anybody who's actually seen any of our videos, we thank you. We want to thank our Facebook family, our Instagram family, and now
we have a brand new Twitter page.
Yes.
You can find us at Father Son Galaxy.
Yes.
We also renamed our Instagram page. And by the way, on Twitter, we have a following of nearly 130.
That's very nice. Yes.
Right. Let's keep it coming.
Right. Yeah. So we want to say thank you to our Twitter family. These last 5 days since we've been on Twitter has been astounding.
Right.
And, we just, we love the encouragement that we're receiving from our family there. And thank you for bringing us into your community. We feel like we're a part of this community.
Right. Plus being on Twitter did a number to our subscribers. It rocketed.
You're right. You're right. And, we know that our Twitter family has something to do with our numbers growing. So we really appreciate it. Thank you very much, and continue to support us. And if you know anyone who is a Star Wars fan, please tell them about our YouTube channel. To those people who are listening to us on our audio podcast, you can still reach us there. But once again, thank you, especially to Twitter. Thank you so much. We love talking Star Wars. We'll never get tired of talking Star Wars. So we hope you'll continue to join us. Okay. Mm-hmm. Do we want to tell them where they can reach us? Right.
So our Instagram page is now named Father Son Galaxy.
Yes.
You can also find us on YouTube, to all our listeners, and to our viewers. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Radio Public, Amazon Music, Audible, and wherever you get your podcast.
That's right. You'll be able to find us, audio or video. So thank you once again. We'll see you again. And until then, please take care of yourself, and we'll see you again.
Bye.